can you let me know when there's big meetings at the Lakers front office? Because that's just right around the corner. I could bring them donuts. I could bring them coffee. I could put my ear to the ground. I could do all sorts of that happened Tuesday, just like 6 days ago down the street from us here, Sam. I could be there.
They should have included some of LeBron's branded tequila just to lighten the mood a little bit.
Well, I mean, it doesn't. Yeah. Sam, I got to tell you, I don't know if the mood needed to be lightened, because from your article, I've written the quote down here. They were, quote unquote, laughing and catching up. They were laughing and catching up.
Yeah, they got there. It's interesting. I mean, it was damage control mode, in my opinion. Just such a fascinating, 10-day stretch, roughly. And then for me, Rich, you got to start with their terrible loss to Milwaukee before the All-Star break. If you remember, and you've been doing this for so long at such a high level that, you're very good at connecting dots. So it's not a real coincidence that night LeBron announces publicly that they're just not on the Bucks level. And then that same night, there's, I think, at least 3 reports that were very similar that were sourced from the locker room that the Lakers players do not believe this roster is good enough. It kind of starts there, and then, you guys capped a few of the things before I jumped on as far as the different messages coming from LeBron. It's the tweets, it's the Sam Presti comments, all the above, the interview about Cleveland, and then just got messier and messier. So the meeting, I think, was just to obviously calm the waters and get this thing back in a productive place. It didn't look that way last night, but they've been trying.
Well, there's one thing that's missing, and I'll ask you if anybody knows what it is, if you know what it is and you're willing or you can share it, is there had to have been a trade during the trade deadline that LeBron either caught wind of, knew about, or Rich Paul caught wind of or knew about, ear to the ground, that that Pelinka said no to, and that and that's part of what happened behind the scenes, or am I just, that's a false assumption?
No, I mean, I have pressed on that specific question with people who would know, and the answer I got was, and I tried to write this, that it was a little more holistic, that they, LeBron looks at other teams and, okay, a guy like Austin Reeves has had some good moments, Malik Monk's been a good find, but they need more of that on this roster. Since you don't have assets and you couldn't be aggressive trade-wise, they should have found a way to, Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan are kind of, for the most part, taking up roster spots at this point, not playing as much as they thought they would. But in terms of a specific trade, this is just me talking. I would not be surprised if, I feel like, and LeBron's never going to admit this or talk openly about it, but the Russell Westbrook, John Wall possibility was obviously available to them. And there was 2 iterations of it. One was you give Houston your 2027 first-round pick. And I do truly believe that LeBron and his associates, obviously including Rich Paul, support the Lakers' decision and feel like that would have been unwise to give Houston the first. But then we learned that, okay, well, you could have got it done if you did a pick swap. So you don't lose your pick, you just get the worst of the 2 picks down the road. And this is the part where it's just me talking. If I had to guess, LeBron probably thinks they should have pulled the trigger on that. But again, that's just me. And then with John Wall in particular, another kind of factor that I was told was that because he hasn't played all year, the Lakers they were uneasy about, investing anything. They at least know what Russell Westbrook is. And so there wasn't a ton of confidence that John Wall was going to come in and be a game changer, and they felt like, that, so they said no to that. But in terms of specific deals, that's kind of the only one that people really talk about.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.